mean, just imagine pulling out your phone, scrolling for like a few minutes and clicking buy now on a $40,000 piece of heavy machinery.
It sounds wild when you say it out loud.
Right. No test drive, no haggling, just a massive vehicle dropped in your driveway a few days later, almost like an oversized Amazon package.
Yeah, that was the dream for a long time.
It really was. For years, tech innovators swore that this completely frictionless, digital-only model was, the absolute future of car buying. But if you look at the automotive retail landscape right now, those exact same online giants are suddenly buying up local physical car lots. Like it?
Well, welcome to Auto News Talk.
Glad to be here for this one. It's a huge topic.
It is, because whether you are in the market for a car or you actually work in the industry, you are watching the traditional rules of buying and selling vehicles just kind of break down in real time.
Oh, absolutely. It is a massive structural shift. We are basically walking through this really fascinating terrain where that purely digital dream of car buying is colliding head-on with physical reality.
Yeah. And at the exact same time, the traditional brick-and-mortar showrooms are facing an enormous operational reset. I mean, the old playbook is completely out the window, and that's largely driven by a sudden collision with artificial intelligence and electric vehicles.
Right. So this isn't just a small pivot. It is a fundamental change in how we buy, usually the second most expensive thing in our lives.
Yeah.
So let's map out this terrain. Let's start with those online disruptors who tried to digitize the entire process.
Let's do it.
Because to me, this sudden pivot, it feels a lot like when Amazon spent years dominating e-commerce, putting brick-and-mortar bookstores out of business, and then suddenly decided to open physical bookstores themselves.
That is a perfect way to look at it.
Right. I mean, you just cannot digitize the new car smell. You can't, download the feeling of adjusting the driver's seat or checking the blind spots to see if you actually feel safe merging onto a highway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that tactile experience is exactly what the digital-first companies totally underestimated. And that brings us to a really major strategic shift. There is an analysis detailing Carvana's new physical expansion, and the central insight here is that Carvana, which, let's be honest, was essentially the poster child for purely digital auto sales, is now actively expanding its physical footprint.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, they have opened a Dallas test drive center and are actually operating 7 acquired Stellantis dealerships.
Wait, let's unpack that for a second, because the irony here is just incredibly thick. I mean, Carvana literally built its entire brand, its whole identity, around those massive glass car vending machines and home delivery.
Right, the giant coin slots.
Exactly. They were the ultimate, you never have to talk to a human or step foot on a dusty lot company.
They absolutely were. I mean, their pitch to investors was always about cutting out the massive overhead of physical real estate and commission salespeople. But, this expansion proves that model has hard limits.
So what are they actually doing with these physical lots?
Well, according to the breakdown of their expansion, this new physical format is meant to complement, not replace, their digital buying process. They are adding Stellantis inventory, so we're talking brand new Jeeps, Chryslers, Dodges, and Rams to their online platform, and they're using this physical network essentially as inventory hubs.
Okay, so they are trying to bridge the gap. But, reading through the details of that Dallas center, it left me with a glaring question.
What's that?
Well, what this analysis doesn't answer is whether Carvana plans to acquire even more franchise dealerships beyond these initial 7. I mean, is this just a localized pilot program, or are we looking at the beginning of a massive physical land grab?
That is exactly the open question hovering over the entire industry right now. But if you take another close look at reports covering Carvana's hybrid retail push, it makes it pretty clear that this is much more than just a temporary experiment.
So they are fully committing.
Yes, this is a strategic shift toward a true hybrid retail model. The ultimate goal for them is shopper confidence and flexibility.
Because it turns out buying a used car online is one thing, but buying a brand new vehicle sight unseen carries a totally different, psychological weight.
Precisely. Analysts who are monitoring this hybrid push point out a really memorable detail. They note that buyers remain deeply hesitant to complete an entire car purchase online, particularly when it comes to brand new vehicles.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Right. So these physical sites are now vital customer touchpoints. It builds a broader distribution network for national sales, sure, but more importantly, it proves that the purely digital auto retail model has a ceiling. And really, the only thing that can break through that ceiling is physical interaction.
People want the safety net of a physical location. Like if the transmission starts making a weird clunking noise 3 days after purchase, you want a building you can drive back to with a service bay and, a human being you can hold accountable.
Exactly. You want a throat to choke, so to speak.
Yeah. Right. But I am still slightly skeptical. What remains to be seen here is if a simple test drive center is actually enough to close that e-commerce gap for brand new vehicle shoppers. Does it offer the full service and support ecosystem a traditional dealership does?
And that skepticism leads us perfectly into the next part of our map. Because if the digital giants are moving on to the physical turf to find growth, you would assume the traditional physical dealerships are taking a victory lap right now.
Oh, totally. They should be thrilled.
But they aren't. They are facing a brutal reality check of their own.
Okay, I actually have a theory about this. For a while, traditional dealerships have essentially been playing the game on easy mode.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Think about the pandemic inventory shortages. If you had a car on the lot, someone was going to buy it. You didn't even have to try. The customer was going to pay above sticker price, and they certainly weren't going to negotiate.
They were just happy to find a car?
Exactly. But now the inventory is back on the lots, the buyers have options again, and suddenly the difficulty setting has been cranked up to expert mode.
That is a perfect analogy, and it aligns directly with the dynamic captured by Stan Schur of Dealer E-Training. He has a great analysis of the current retail landscape. His central insight is that the auto industry isn't in decline, but it is in a period of severe transformation where dealerships absolutely must return to disciplined execution.
So playing on easy mode really did cause some bad habits to form.
Oh, it masked deep systemic operational weaknesses. According to Schur, those pandemic-era conditions meant incredibly low inventory and exceptionally high grosses.
Meaning they made way more per car.
Right. The profit margin on a single vehicle was massive because dealers could charge a premium. Add in the fact that they barely had to spend money on advertising, and dealerships were highly profitable even if their core business processes were terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't need to be good at following up with internet leads if you were literally the only lot in a 50-mile radius with a hybrid minivan.
But the music stopped. Customers now expect fast, completely transparent communication. And if survival means competing for loyalty and converting internet leads again, a lot of these sales teams are totally out of practice.
The data backs that up in a rather alarming way, too. She highlights a specific, highly memorable scenario. A simple mystery shop by phone, text, or chat frequently reveals robotic messaging and incredibly weak phone skills.
Oh, I have experienced this firsthand. It is so frustrating.
You have?
Yes. Imagine a stressed parent trying to figure out if a specific double stroller fits in the trunk of a crossover. They send an inquiry on the dealer's website just asking for the trunk dimensions.
A very simple, practical question.
Right, and instantly they get a sterile, automated email back that says, "Great news, we have financing available. When can you come in for a test drive?"
Yeah.
It doesn't answer a single question. It just makes the customer feel completely ignored.
That is the exact friction point. Stores that relied on inventory shortages to make money are now carrying giant liabilities if they don't fix those communication gaps. The market has normalized, and sloppy execution is being heavily penalized.
But, the open question this leaves us with is just how long this painful operational reset will take for the average local dealership to complete. Changing a deeply ingrained culture of complacency, that doesn't happen overnight.
It really doesn't. And what makes this new expert mode so difficult isn't just that competition is back, it's the product itself. We are looking at an environment where success heavily depends on modernizing outdated internet sales processes while simultaneously preparing for electric vehicle shoppers.
I am so glad you brought up EVs. Because selling an electric vehicle isn't just selling a car. You are essentially selling a highly advanced computer on wheels.
Exactly.
Are we basically demanding that car salespeople suddenly become IT specialists and licensed electricians?
In a very real way, yes. There's an analysis covering this EV transition that notes electric vehicle shoppers arrive loaded with complex, highly technical questions.
Not just does it have leather seats.
Right. They want to know about the local charging infrastructure. They ask about battery range degradation over 5 years. They want to know the difference between level 2 and DC fast charging and how much it will cost to upgrade their home's electrical panel.
And if the salesperson just kicks the tires, points to the hood and says, well, it's got great instant torque, that deal is completely dead on arrival.
The buyer walks immediately. But the problem is that sales teams are profoundly underprepared for this. They are relying on generic, customer relationship management software, or CRM templates.
Right, the CRM. For listeners who don't know, the CRM is basically the digital filing cabinet that tracks leads and tells a salesperson when to follow up.
Exactly. But these templates were designed for gas-powered cars. They don't work for an educational sale like an EV. Furthermore, the old business development center operations, the BDC rooms where a dozen people sit at desks making hundreds of cold calls a day, they are totally obsolete.
Because nobody answers the phone anymore.
Exactly. The sources point out a very specific detail about modern buyers. Consumers actively screen phone calls. Spam risk labels pop up on our screens, and we just ignore them.
Oh, I decline them instantly.
We all do. This makes those call-heavy BDC models entirely useless because current buyers expect quick text and digital engagement. They want a conversation on their terms, on their screens.
So if dealerships don't adapt to how modern consumers communicate and actually understand the complex EVs they are selling, they will lose out to competitors who have tighter, more modernized digital processes.
Without a doubt.
I know everyone says artificial intelligence is the answer here, like AI is going to save the day. But I have to say, what these analyses don't specify is exactly which AI software tools or platforms are actually the most effective for fixing these broken CRM workflows. We know they need AI to help sort the leads, but the exact roadmap is incredibly fuzzy.
The technological roadmap might be fuzzy, but the philosophy required to survive is becoming crystal clear. There's a really brilliant perspective on this, exploring how AI, training, and process discipline will reshape the industry. The central insight is fascinating. Auto retail is entering a rebirth, where technology must be paired with human accountability and intensive employee training.
Wait, I have to push back a little here. Isn't the whole promise of AI that it reduces the need for intensive human labor? It seems like automating the boring stuff would just be a pure win for efficiency. How is AI a risk?
It's a massive risk because dealerships might use it as a crutch.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, if you use AI to just blast out generic responses faster, you amplify the problem. There is a stark warning in this perspective. AI must be used to, quote, support trained employees, not as a substitute for human connection. Empathy and active listening cannot be automated.
Okay, let's break down how that actually works in practice then. How does AI support the human without replacing them?
Think about that CRM software again. Instead of a human spending hours digging through files to figure out who to call, the AI runs in the background. It watches a customer's online behavior.
Okay.
Let's say it sees that a user has clicked on the towing capacity specs of a specific hybrid truck 3 times and then spent 10 minutes reading about federal tax credits.
Highly specific.
Right. The AI identifies that buying signal and alerts the salesperson, saying, this customer is highly engaged regarding towing and tax credits. Here is the exact information you need to discuss with them. The AI handles the data organization, but the human makes the connection.
That is a vital distinction. You can program a chatbot to instantly answer a question about battery range, but you cannot program a chatbot to genuinely empathize with that stressed-out parent trying to find a vehicle safe enough for their newborn.
Which proves that the dealership of the future won't necessarily be the one with the biggest budget for shiny tech. It will be the one that trains its humans the best.
Yeah.
Stronger leadership development and coaching are non-negotiable now. Tighter margins are the new reality. Technology is really just the amplifier of your human talent.
That makes total sense in theory. Though, looking at the financial reality of this, I do wonder how smaller independent dealerships are supposed to afford this massive tech and training overhaul. The massive corporate dealership groups, they can easily absorb the cost of leadership coaching and complex AI integration, but the mom and pop lot on the corner is going to be squeezed incredibly hard by these new demands.
That financial pressure is going to separate the survivors from the casualties, for sure. If we step back and synthesize this entire journey we've just walked through, I think 3 massive themes tie all of this evidence together.
Let's hear them.
First, we are witnessing the complete merging of worlds. The lines between digital and physical retail are vanishing. We see Carvana, the ultimate digital platform, executing a hybrid physical push to capture wary buyers.
Right.
And at the exact same time, traditional physical dealers are being forced to modernize their digital internet sales operations to survive, like we saw with the need to overhaul the BDC.
So the digital guys are building showrooms, and the showroom guys are trying to master digital text messaging.
Yeah.
They're all sprinting toward the exact same middle ground.
Exactly. The second major theme is the sheer complexity of the product. Selling a car is no longer just about horsepower and negotiating monthly payments. It has evolved into an educational lifestyle consultation.
Yeah, that's super clear.
Right, which we clearly saw supported by the electric vehicle points in Stanshur's analyses. The salesperson has to understand the buyer's home electrical grid just as well as the vehicle's suspension.
It's a massive shift in the required skill set.
It is. And the third theme is the ultimate premium on human connection. Empathy is the ultimate differentiator. Carvana realized they needed physical touchpoints because people need human reassurance for large purchases. And the industry is being actively warned against using AI to replace genuine conversations. When the stakes are high, humans want to buy from humans.
But getting to that harmonious middle ground, it's causing some serious friction. I actually see two huge contradictions in everything we've explored.
Go on.
First, there's the tension between pure e-commerce efficiency and the human senses. The drive to make buying a car as frictionless as ordering a phone charger directly conflicts with the buyer's deep psychological need to physically touch, smell, and test drive a vehicle. We see that collision perfectly in Carvana's original vending machine concept versus their new franchise test centers.
Yes, digital efficiency versus tactile reassurance.
And the second contradiction is automation versus authenticity. The industry is rushing to use AI for efficiency to handle leads and organize workflows, but that rush is actively clashing with the customer's absolute hatred of robotic, generic communication. We see the theoretical promise of AI directly fighting against the reality of those terrible mystery shop failures where customers just feel ignored by automated templates.
So true.
So for you listening, what is the ultimate practical takeaway from all of this? It's that whoever wins the future of car sales isn't the company with the flashiest smartphone app, and it isn't the company with the biggest physical lot. It's the company that uses technology completely invisibly in the background. The AI handles the scheduling, the data sorting, the heavy lifting so that the human staff can focus entirely on empathy, guidance, and building absolute trust.
The technology handles the process so the human can handle the person.
Beautifully said. Well, thanks for joining us on this segment of Auto News Talk, but before we go, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over. We talked a lot about how empathy cannot be automated right now. But if artificial intelligence eventually becomes so incredibly advanced that it can mimic human empathy perfectly over a text message or a phone call, will we still care about the physical showroom at all?
Wow. That question challenges the entire foundation of retail.
It really does. Next time you browse for a car online or step onto a physical lot, pay close attention to who is actually listening to your needs and who is just following a robotic script. Catch you next time on Auto News Talk.